Hi guys, welcome to Generation Mingle, and I'm your host. My name is B, where we boomers, millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, and sometimes Alpha get together on the table and explode. We are today, thankfully, in a beautiful restaurant, the True Kitchen Summerlin, downtown Las Vegas. Thank you so much, guys, for hosting us. It's a beautiful environment. We love the meal. Anytime we come here, we're meeting together at least once in a while, like every 4 weeks or so, we're trying to meet together. And I have invited to my podcast today my fabulous friends, awesome guys, Eddie, world travel. I have a Craig that is talented in art, and I have a Mike that is one of the best fathers that always impress me in the world. So anyway, guys, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. So I have received a letter that actually has a questions to our generation, but before we start, I would like to ask you, Mike, what generation are you identifying yourself?
Well, I'm a boomer, but I was born almost the last part of the boomers.
Boomer era?
Yeah, so I kind of fall into the next generation, so it's...
This is with the birthday, but what about your characteristics? What would you say?
I'm probably closer to Gen Z or millennial, I don't know. I mean, Gen X. Oh, Gen X, I'm sorry. Said Gen X. Yeah, see, I don't even know all the...
We know you better than you know yourself.
So I'm probably closer to boomer since I don't know all the pronouns and the correct figures.
So, Greg, what would you identify yourself as a generation? Where do you fit in?
If you go by the dates, I'm a boomer. However, I would have to say it's a combination of all of them. On any given day.
Yeah, sounds good.
It's I think I have a bit of this one and that one. I wouldn't say the last generation. What's the last one we're into? Gen
A.
Yeah.
Alpha.
Yeah.
Those are the kiddos, but I think Gen Z, you have a plenty of Gen Z as well.
Gen Z.
Yeah. What about you, Eddie?
I am a boomer, and I identify with almost all of them because of things that have happened to me that I've had to adjust myself to.
Think also has to do with your travel around and exposed to different culture.
Right.
Because as you guys, I'm sorry to interrupt you. As you guys know, I am Gen X, but I have plenty of sprinkles of boomer, and in many decisions, I really identify myself as a boomer. But I understand Craig. He is a very art-oriented, very talented man. And with him being even with Gen Z and Millennia and Gen X, I can see him because of the art approach. And Mike has been a father, fabulous father, so he needs to be the solid, hardcore man. So I can see it that you would say you're a typical boomer. So guys, if you don't mind, I received a letter a couple of days ago in my email, and it's for a young gentleman named Kai. He identified himself as Generation Z. And it's very short, so let me quickly read. And I would like you guys to respond to him with our, experiences. So what I call the letter is, I am the problem, or is the economy unhinged? Hey, I'm 22 years old, working 2 jobs and still living at home because rent is price of human kidney. Boomers call me irresponsible, but what exactly I am supposed to do? Please explain, Kai. What do you think?
Well, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and I don't look at him as somebody irresponsible. He's working 2 jobs. That shows responsibility right there. But if he was sitting home and collecting money from his family and doing nothing, then I'd say you're irresponsible. But the fact that he's working and trying to move on to a better life, and with my own kids, I have a son that lives with his mother. I have other kids who have moved out and live on their own in the college, and they've all tried to, but there's times I help them financially because the finances are such a challenge right now to keep up with everything.
The world have changed, right? Dramatically. What do you think, Brad?
Well, I agree, but I don't call him irresponsible. I commend him, and I think, you're living at home because you cannot afford to actually live in an apartment or to buy a home these days. Unless your parents are actually going to fund you, it's not. I think he's highly responsible, and I don't discredit him for living at home. And I would like to say that I have hope I'm never getting out of that situation.
Right.
But unless his parents are going to give him, an inheritance to buy a home, I don't know how younger generation gets a home these days. I really don't. Without the assistance of their parents.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's, or having, if they're going to move into an apartment, having 5 roommates so they can afford to be in an apartment that might have 2 bedrooms.
Good point. Because the economy has been so fast for us. When we were younger, we could have that vision, right? Of, okay, I'm going to get degree, I'm going to get loan for my house, and I can purchase the house, and I can have a family. What do you think, Eddie?
I think that first off, get a plan, make a plan with, your parents to make it happen.
But he should move in with me. Then he'd be fine.
You get a plan and make it so it's feasible in your brain, at least, get people involved that can help you.
Well, I think that yes, definitely, the experience and possibly, maybe find a career that would speed up the process. You're absolutely right. But I think that everyone tries to do that at the same time. So the process of actually purchasing home has been extended. We could do that maybe mid-20 some, right? Coming out of the college in 2 years. But for millennials have been already hard. And for Gen X, definitely with the economy down and, everything else that we have shut down with, employment that we went through. And now Gen Z comes to absolutely a huge wall halt. That's it. There's almost impossible for simple students to pay the loans off and go to work to be able to establish, okay, let's go and purchase home. No, it's going to happen when you're 35 or 40.
But I'd also want to question who's calling him irresponsible? Is someone actually saying that to him, or does he feel that way himself? Because they don't understand his situation. I think anyone who does understand the situation, he is working 2 jobs, would not call him irresponsible. But then again, I don't know where that thought process or where that accusation is coming from.
I'm telling you, many people that don't understand this generation, and that's why we have that generation mingle that I want to talk about, because many boomers are assuming that because they don't really see the process, what's happening right now. See, boomers have grown up that I'm not taking away from you, boomers, at all. It was hard as well, right? But it has been different, was reachable. You could see the light and the tunnel that you eventually reach. Right now, the tunnel is so far out that it's just the darkness for them. And I don't think so that the older generation, silent generation, would understand it. Some boomers would understand that the very having misunderstanding of millennials and Gen Z and how they don't analyze that those kids have been born into technology immediately.
We have gone from having none of it than to having all of it now.
Right.
And they have never known not happy.
Exactly. So there's so much gaps, I think, technological, economical, right? But the kids really think that majority boomers thinking about then millennials and Gen Z, that those kids are useless and they are irresponsible. But this is why I'm talking to you, because you are world travels, you extremely, intelligent creators coming off art and visual and looking through generation. And Micah has incredible experience with the amount of children that he fathering. So this is why I turn into your opinion to give chance to Gen Z millennials to somewhat understand that some of us understand, but we have to just talk to each other. Because seems like earlier you said, every conversation turn into shutdown. Right.
It does. There is no conversation. I mean, you've got to have a conversation to understand each other, whether you agree or not. You at least have got to hear their side. You've got to have an understand, so you can understand where they're coming from. And then they hopefully will say some understanding from you. But it seems nowadays, the minute there's any contradiction in what they might say and you say, it's shut down. It's canceled. It's done. You're over. And there's no discretion. And I don't know how anyone moves forward in that sort of a situation.
I recently read some place, 40 is the average age that people are able to buy a house, 40.
See, so I hitting the right spot, but like we discussed earlier, the conversations that we don't have, right? One generation assume, okay, the old they don't understand anything, the other generation, or the young, they ignorant and they lazy, right? And this is why I came with that idea. We do have to talk about, and we want to hear from you guys, from millennials, from Gen Z. I want to have that input, just like Kai sent us the letter. Me that question will just hit right there home for us. Why they think that is double.
Understand that it's that we welcome those conversations. Lots of times like, oh, you just won't understand. Well, I won't understand if you don't explain it to me. Because I don't have an understanding until you tell me how, and I go, oh, now I understand. I see how you can feel that way or where you're coming from. But if they don't ever have that conversation, I have no other option but to believe whatever wrong or right that I So as soon as I know a different way or a different path and I'm enlightened, I can go, okay, I can see your side of the story. But otherwise, I have no side of the story to see. Yeah. So, you got to tell whether you got to tell them, you got to open our eyes.
So I have another question, and that came out in conversation, and I wrote it down for myself. I want you to answer that, okay? So what is the one thing you think your generation got wrong? Well, the perspective of economy, social life, anything, bringing up kids, how you treat the kids, but more likely what we did that now the millennials and the Gen Z has to deal with and we could do better.
To me, it would be like my parents went through World War II, and they had this different life than what they had, and it was much better. And so they had children that they could give a lot of stuff to, and so to me, it was an easy life.
So you think they make too easy for you?
Yeah, well, they were very lucky,
right?
I know. Like I find people who didn't have the same house all growing up, or divorced, different kinds of all kinds of family units and stuff. And I grew up in the same house.
So what do you think you did wrong for the generation that you did? What would you like to do better?
Oh, I think it's they have a sense of entitlement that they don't realize it was hard fought.
Hard fought.
Yeah.
Rick, what about you?
Yeah, I think that we came and we thought our parents were too strict, too condemning, and too, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then we did just the opposite and said, we didn't discipline, we didn't think you should say no, you can go do everything. And then we had to deal with that generation who all of a sudden now they are entitled, they think they are, because we made them that way. We sort of thought, well, it was too hard on us, so we're going to be, and I don't think we thought we were going to be too soft. But we did the opposite of that, and we were, I think, in lots of cases, not saying that we needed to beat our children like our parents did us, but I don't think that we were as strict and as disciplined in areas as we should have, just for the fear we didn't want them to make them feel like uncomfortable or that's wrong or be ashamed of something. It was, don't do that. And I think it bit us in the butt.
I think I know what you're trying to say, because our parents make us feel very comfortable and try to accomplish, give us the better life.
Yes.
And I think with that, we just continue to do this. And now we have the millennials that maybe do not understand the fact that it's not as easy always, right?
Teach them that there's some things you do have to work for.
Exactly.
And that there is a sacrifice for some, that everything's just, you can't just get everything. It's not, but we wanted to make them think that's the way it was. We could just get it. You're going to get, we're going to buy it, so you're going to have it. And without realizing there is a sacrifice that comes with certain things, and there is a price that has to be paid. We tried to absolve that, and I think that was a misjustice to them.
What about you, Mike?
Well, I don't know if it's a generational thing or the family dynamic things for me, but I grew up with a single mother, I'm the youngest of 8 children. So, when she had children who were going wayward, she picked up the family, moved out to a farm.
Right.
So we lived out in the country, on a farm, and she would go to work and we would all be home by ourselves, hanging out on the farm. I'd be playing with my toys,
Or just grow up by yourself, basically.
School and play at the dog for hours out in the field by myself. And it was a fun, enjoyable life, but at the same time as I got older, she worked and traveled around the United States, and then I wrote my own notes to school if I was sick, if I didn't want to go to school, so I didn't have anybody there saying, you need to be at school, you need to get your homework done, you need to do this. I just did it.
Right. I have the self-responsibility of, because it has to be done, right? And nobody else was there to tell you to do it.
Yeah, and so, it's funny, our society and in my community I grew up in was very religious and traditional, and so I think I picked up on a lot of that as I was growing up. So I think it's partly the boomer, but also partly, we all have situations we grow up and live in.
Well, the culture, the place where you grow up, right?
But Michael was also very responsible with his children. He didn't let them away with the rest of what we did. He made his kids understand that you had to work for things that didn't come for free.
Right.
No one was going to do that for you. Well, I'm like, no, you ought to go.
That's probably
He was very good.
I have to probably admit I was kind of a helicopter parent.
They let him know the truth, where the rest of us would hide and say, oh yeah, we're fine, we'll do that. And we're going, we don't have any money, we can't do that. We go, well, we can do that. He'd be going, oh, there is no money, we're not doing that. So,
Guys, overall, that question, I think we touch also between the economy and that family and the culture, everything with that, right? I hoped that Gen Z actually, because they open and they speak about this more than the millennials, just like Kai have asked us that. And some of them ask me similar questions to what you guys did wrong and how could be better and so on. I think that possibly Gen Z can figure it out from all of that millennials has been somewhat different. I know the dressing up planning with all this dark stuff and the dark makeup and pink hair, but this is not about that. It's about that what is inside, right? What is in the mind. And I think they will eventually figure it out and be stronger than we were. Because I don't think so. We spoke about this just before the podcast. I don't think so. We fight enough for overall society. We didn't fight for the better wages. We didn't fight for better Medicare, right? We assumed that somewhat kind of that will, we thought it would go just along, that our government or the economy or the whoever is in charge will figure it out for us, which is the common sense.
would do the right thing.
Exactly, yeah. So we thought, okay, that will be somewhat figured out. And also with /boomer/Gen X, we don't trust many, right, at all. So we don't trust like I said before, we don't trust the government, we don't trust the religion, we don't trust any organizations, otherwise anybody, we analyzing everything, right? So I think Gen Z, having that background, they will figure it out. So let me say this. Guys, if you have anything to chip in from us, millennials, Gen Z, I would love to invite the guys back, ask us questions, have suggestions, let's go start speak to us. Just like Greg said, we love to have a conversation. We want to know, guys, what you're feeling and what your expectations are and where you want to go from there, and we want to just help. And Generation Mingle is the place that I want everybody to talk, get together and figure it out. What's the next for us, especially here for our country. So thank you so much, guys, for coming, for joining me. That was fabulous. I really appreciate you very much. And thank you to the True Kitchen here in Summerlin, Las Vegas, downtown, for hosting us. I really appreciate it. So keep guys in mind, okay? No matter your generation, okay? If you boomer, Gen X, millennial, Gen Z, or a little alpha, okay? Keep in mind, keep your Wi-Fi extremely strong. Keep your music very loud. Keep your arguments just friendly enough to have that mingle, okay? And come and visit the True Kitchen in Summerlin downtown. They have a fantastic offer. As you can see, is right there, okay? We're truly, because we come often to this place, we're truly generations boomer, Gen X, Gen Z, millennial, and alpha sit on the table, munching and mingle. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.